Welcome or welcome back to Tome Travelers. I am your guide, Erica. Today, we'll be talking about my June TBR of possibilities. There's too many books on this list that I really want to read, and I don't think I can read them all. It's a possibility. I could, but I doubt it. So there are only 3 books that I'm obligating myself to read because one is definitely a Buzzwordathon pick for June. And the other 2 are, I'm doing what it's called TBR randomizer on my story graph. So I will talk about all the possibilities and what I am reading right now. Oops, that fell. So let's talk about Seed by Ania Ahlborn. This so far is very interesting. This is supposed to be, I think, a horror? Yeah, a horror. Let me read you the synopsis. With nothing but the clothes on his back and something horrific snapping at his heels, Jack Winter fled his rural Georgia home when he was just a boy, watching the world he knew vanish in a trucker's rearview mirror. He thought he was leaving an unspeakable nightmare behind forever. Now, years later, the bright new future he's built suddenly turns pitch black as something fiendishly familiar looms dead ahead. Surviving a violent car crash seems like a miracle for Jack's family, but Jack knows there's nothing divine about it. The profound evil he uncovered as a boy has finally found him again. The thing that crouched at his bedside with soulless eyes and grinning razor-sharp teeth is back with plans for Jack and his angelic youngest daughter, and a chilling promise, I've always been here, and I'll never leave. So, I'm on page 67. So far, we've seen hints of something that might be going on. We don't get too much into, we get a little bit of Jack's past. We get a little bit of, well, the first thing we have is that car accident. And stuff with his youngest daughter. His oldest is, what's really interesting are that my children are the same age. His oldest daughter, Abby, is 10. My oldest son, Donovan, is 10. His youngest daughter, Charlie, technically Charlotte, just turned 6. My youngest, Gabriel, is 6. Their birthdays aren't until November and October. There's 4 years between them. And I'm reading this going, interesting. But something happened with Charlie. She got sick, but that could have been because of something else. But Jack saw something that he didn't like. And now we're getting to interesting things that are happening in the house. Something that happened while he was away for the evening. And I was like, whoa, that's really freaky. If that happened in my house, I would be saging the house. For real. I'd be like, I'm saging. If that don't get rid of you, I better be calling somebody else to get you out. Something going on. So I don't know if this is, it sounds like it might be a paranormal horror story, but this is my morning book because I find that thrillers and horrors will definitely keep me wide awake and keep me very interested in reading. Not to say anything else won't. I just feel more focused in the morning for some odd reason. So the next one that I'm reading right now that isn't, I'm not obligated to, but I'm definitely interested in reading because I already picked up another one of her books, is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So this is the story of the princess of Crete that helped, let me say his name right, Theseus, whichever way you want to say it, escape the labyrinth of the Minotaur, and how he left her behind. There are many mythologies that say that she was murdered by Artemis, that he just left her there, that the god, I can never say his name right, Dionysus, I can spell it, I can never say it. Dionysus, the god of wine, was interested and told him to get lost because he was going to take her for a wife. Many, many different explanations. So we get her story and everything and what happened. And I like that she's getting to the mythology of the women, just like Madeline Miller is. Well, at least with Circe, Madeline Miller did, because you didn't get that background with Circe. I really enjoyed that. I think that's why I like that better than the Song of Achilles, where I know you got more with Achilles and I can never remember his name, and I should know all my Greeks. But I like this. I have just picked up Electra by her as well, and I can't wait to get behind that. I can't wait to read what she writes next. Her and Madeline Miller, I really do. And I think Natalie Haynes also writes Greek mythology. I'm looking, going, I know my H's are over there because I see Grady Hendrix. I'm looking for it too. I'm like, where is it? It should be right there. There it is, 1,000 Ships. I see it right there. And I know that has to do with Greek mythology and probably the women behind that as well. I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I'm liking that, you know, now we're getting to see what really happens to these women. Why are they punished? Why is it blah, 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 blah. I like that. I like that these women get a better or a more understanding story than what the Greek myths portray these poor women, where they get seduced by gods by no fault of their own. They didn't, like Ariadne's mom, Pasiphae, I can never say it right, was enticed to have sex with a bull because Poseidon was pissed off with King Minos. So he punished the wife and not the man. That was their thinking back then. Misogynistic as all hell. But it's really good. I'm on chapter 18. I'm on 146. So this is getting interesting. I like her little sister Phaedra as well. And I actually do know the fate of Phaedra from the mythology. And she has her own little mythology. We'll see where that leads. That if she gets another story, because there's another myth with Phaedra. So this book I'm obligated to read because it's part of the Buzzwordathon, and at the time, and probably still is, I might have one other book, unless I read it, that has the word all in it. Fairest of All by, because I want to make sure I say it, by Serena Valentino. A Tale of the Wicked Queen. This is the first in the series. I don't know if it's considered the villain series. Whoa, I don't want to read that. But she has a whole series of villains. Yeah. So, I'm waiting to read this closer to when we go to Disney, which is practically the end of the month. That's when we're going. We're leaving the 26th, and we'll be home that Friday, which is sometime, I think it's July 1st, maybe? I don't remember. I just know we're leaving on a Sunday, coming back on a Friday. That's it. But I want to read this one closer. I either want to take this down with me to read it. It's the first book, and I've been wanting to read this. And I'll know I'll get to it because it's only 250 pages right there. So that looks to be good. So the next one is also Disney inspired. I might start this a week before we go to Disney because I am very interested in continuing with this series. So this is Love by Elizabeth Lim. This is the Cinderella retelling. This is the Twisted Tale retelling of Cinderella. It says, what if Cinderella never tried on the glass slipper? So this is interesting. I'm not going to read the synopsis. You just go by what if Cinderella never tried on the glass slipper? What happens? I think this was her where I really loved reflection. that had to do with Mulan. Now, I was never the biggest with the Mulan movie. I do like the Mulan movie. It's not my favorite, but I like the book, and I wish that that book that Elizabeth wrote would have been the movie itself. That was awesome. I loved it. So this is the next in the Twisted Tales series. I'm going by publishing date order. So I think after this would be Unbirthday, which has to do with Alice in Wonderland. And it keeps going. And I can't wait for the one in September. It has to do with the Princess and the Frog one with Tiana. So I'm excited. I'm getting to these. I'm really getting to these. I'm loving these. I was very interested from the first one that I picked up, which was the Aladdin one. And I have my favorites, and I have my, those are okay. But they're really good and very interesting. I was very surprised with the last one, Straight On Till Morning, which had to do with the whole thing with Peter Pan, except Peter Pan was barely in it. So I loved the whole thing with Wendy, and it was good. So another one that's on the list of options to read would be The Neverending Story by Michael Ende. Oh, translated by Ralph Manheim. And I do like the cover of this, and I want to show you, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but this is the first page. Can you see the color? One's red, one's green. That's the whole color. Is red and green, and ooh. I guess this is a new chapter or whatever. But look at that. Look how pretty that is. I had to get this edition because I saw somebody else with this edition and I fell in love with it. So I love that it starts with that. There's green. Alright, there's a prologue. Whoa, that's backwards. I can read backwards anyways. And upside down and whatever. But some people say the book isn't as good as the movies. Or the movies linger on something that the book does not. And that's what makes the movie better. So I don't know. I've seen all 3 movies of The Neverending Story. 1, 2, and 3. I don't remember 3 as much because I saw it once, but I remember the first and the second one the best. And I really loved the movie, so I'm very interested in the book. I just recently found out that there was a book that was based on books. Those 3 movies were based on a book. I didn't even know it. I'm ashamed of myself. I call myself an avid reader and I don't even know. And I'm like, what? That's actually a book? I always dreamed it would be a book. And it is. Oh, why didn't I know this? Why didn't I even bother to look? You gotta remember, we didn't have internet until 1995. And it wasn't perfect. Where it's not perfect today, but by and large, with technology and everything today, it has gotten so much better. So, yeah, me finding out this late that it's actually a book does not surprise me. So the next one I'm obligated to read is Ophie's Ghost by Justina Ireland. I heard this is a really good book. Now, this one is set in the 1920s, but that's okay. This is a middle grade. I'm not upset by that. Whoa. So what is this about? Oh, like the Neverending Story. I really don't remember what it's about. I just know that Fantastica or whatever is in danger and Bastian has to help. He's the reader. He has to help. It's been a while. So if you know the movies, the book is kind of like the movies, I guess. Okay, so on to Ophie's Ghosts. So Ophelia Harrison used to live in a small house in the Georgia countryside, but that was before the night in November 1922, and the cruel act that took her home and her father from her, which was the same night that Ophie learned she can see ghosts. Now, I'm not going to read more, so this will be interesting. You know, I mean, I'm waiting till I finish Seed to make this my morning book because I know I can get through it quickly. because the type is bigger than most, because it's a middle grade. So, Seed, Fairest of All, and Ophie's Ghosts are the main priority. Everything else is, ooh, what should I read? Well, I've been wanting to read this one. It's kind of retelling onto itself of historical fiction. It's Romanov by Nadine Brandes, and it's about Anastasia and her family. And it says, the history books say I died. They don't know the half of it. Anastasia Romanov was given a single mission. Nastia must be her nickname. To smuggle an ancient spell into her suitcase on her way to exile in Siberia. It might be her family's only salvation, but the leader of the Bolshevik army is after them, and he's hunted Romanov before. Nastia's only chances of saving herself and her family are either to release the spell and deal with the consequences, or to enlist help from Zash, the handsome soldier who doesn't act like the average Bolshevik. Nastia has only dabbled in magic, but it doesn't frighten her half as much as her growing attraction to Zash. She likes him. She thinks he might even like her. That is until she's on one side of a firing squad and he's on the other. I've always been interested in the Romanov dynasty and what happened to them, and was Anastasia really alive? To this day, people think that she didn't die, and other people think she did. I think it's been proven that, yes, she actually did die with her family. From the movie that's not a Disney movie. I repeat, this was not a Disney movie. There was the movie about Anastasia that was animated, and it was not a Disney movie. People think it was. No. I think it was a Don Bluth film. He was the guy who did the Land Before Time. I think he was also the guy who did American Tail with Fievel. I'm a child of the 80s. I better know this. So Anastasia had the main character's voice was Kiersten Dunst when Anastasia was younger. And what was her? She does so many. Angela Lansbury did the voice of the grandmother in it. I had to remember that. And they sang Once Upon a December, which, as I look over there, I do have the replica of that music box because I was so enthralled with it and it was so beautiful and I really loved it and I did love the movie and was surprised it wasn't a Disney movie. So this probably has magical realism in it, I guess, or just plain old magic. And maybe how Anastasia survives instead of dies. I mean, we can go on if people claim to be Anastasia all we want. That legend has died, and so has the conspiracy. I think in the last 10 or so years, they have found that she really did die with her family. They just, I think, buried her and Alexei separately, her and Alexei together or somewhere else than the family. I don't remember how it was portrayed. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've actually watched some TV. So I'm interested in reading that. I'm into retellings this month, obviously, because I've got Cinder by Marissa Meyer. So this is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles. I have Scarlet and I have Cress. And I have Heartless, which is not part of the Lunar Chronicles. So I have to get the next three, which is Winter, Stars Above, and Fairest. So I don't remember what this is about, but I do know it's a sci-fi, possibly a romance, I believe. So if you don't know what this is about, because I don't remember what's it about, let us know together. 16-year-old Cinder is considered a technological mistake by most of society and a burden by her stepmother. Being cyborg does have its benefits, though Cinder's brain interface has given her an uncanny ability to fix things, robots, hovers, her own malfunctioning parts, making her the best mechanic in New Beijing. This reputation brings Prince Kai himself to her weekly market booth, needing her to repair a broken android before the annual ball. He jokingly calls it a matter of national security, but Cinder suspects it's more serious than he's letting on. Although eager to impress the prince, Cinder's intentions are derailed when her younger stepsister, and only human friend, is infected with the fatal plague that's been devastating Earth for a decade. Blaming Cinder for her daughter's illness, Cinder's stepmother volunteers her body for plague research, an honor that no one has survived. But it doesn't take long for the scientists to discover something unusual about their new guinea pig. Something others would kill for. I want to make sure I read that right. So this is interesting. So, and it's going to go through different ones. I think Scarlet is Little Red Riding Hood. Cress is Rapunzel. I don't know if, I think Winter is Snow White. Stars Above, I don't know. I think Fairest is her short story thing. Oh, I have to look. I remember there was an order to it. Now, the last one that I definitely probably will want to get to, and probably maybe take this to Disney as well, because it's short. I'm surprised. And it just came out. Is Hyde by Kiersten White. Definitely. I mean, look at that. There's a map in here. I really thought somebody wrote in this. Because it has marker. It looks like permanent marker. I mean, it looked like really somebody wrote in it, but it was copied that way. I mean, those are the end pages to it. I mean, it's back here too. So if you don't know what Hyde's about, it's a high-stakes hide-and-seek competition turns deadly in this dark supernatural thriller. It's spend a week hiding in an abandoned amusement park and don't get caught. The prize? Enough money to change everything. So even though everyone is desperate to win, to seize a dream, future, or escape a haunting past, Mac is sure she can beat her competitors. All she has to do is hide, and she's an expert at that. It's the reason she's alive and her family isn't. But as the people around her begin disappearing one by one, sorry, I've got itchy, dry ears, Mac realizes that this competition is even more sinister than she imagined, and that together might be the only way to survive. 14 competitors, 7 days, everywhere to hide but nowhere to run. Come out, wherever you are. I'm waiting for this one. This is going to remind me of the other one. What was that other one? Where is his name? Oh, Funland. Or Funland? Fantastic Land by Michael Brockovin. I don't think it's the same style. No, it's not. His book, Fantastic Land, was it's like interviews. They did interviews and they talked about what happened. This is not. I just looked at it. This looks very interesting. I really want to read that one. I may read that before Disney because I'm just like, I really want to read that one. That one looks so good. So it might end up being Ophie's Ghost and Hyde. I don't think I'll get to 9 books. I highly doubt that. I read 7 because, seriously, one was 56 pages and one was a manga. Manga doesn't take me that long to read. It takes me a day. One manga takes me a day. 2 mangas can take me 1 day. I'll sit there and eat it up. I want to read it till the end. So I'm hoping to at least get to 6 out of the 9. This is just, I could do what I want. I didn't have the game to play, and I had endless possibilities. Like, ooh. And a lot of them are what I like to, is retellings. And June is, because I'm going to Disney, basically a retelling of everything. I mean, come on. Disney's movies are retellings of, let's see, Grimm's fairy tales and Hans Christian Andersen or whatever. The guy who wrote The Little Mermaid, because that was definitely dark. Wow. That was a dark one. I did read that book, or that story, and that was just, tragic. But I have the Grimm's fairy tales. I have read them. I should reread them. And yeah, and some of the Grimm's fairy tales are almost like Aesop's fables in some respects. So I'm like, did they work? I mean, Aesop's fables was a long time ago, but some of them I'm like, I heard this as a fable at one point in my life. Did they get inspiration from Aesop? Or because they lived in, I think, Germany. They were German. Did they get those from, you know, they got it across the countryside and everywhere. It's very interesting, these stories. The fairy tales that get told from generation to generation, it's just like Greek mythology. That's how they explain the weather. You know, that's Zeus throwing lightning bolts because he's pissed off. Ooh, there's an earthquake because Poseidon is pissed off. I mean, ooh, that's Helios or Apollo with the sun. Or it's Selene or Artemis with the chariot at night. I ain't gonna lie, my favorite goddess is Athena. Goddess of good war, or the smart kind of war. She's intelligent. She is creative. And I love her because she's got an owl as her little mascot. I've always loved Athena. Plus, my mom is going to name me Athena. I would have died. That would have been cute. I'm no goddess. But that would have been cute. But those are all my possibilities. Let me know what you guys are reading for June. If you've already read any of these, comment below to let me know what you're reading, or if you've read any of these. I don't know if you've read this yet, or maybe you got an arc of it, but let me know if you already read this before me. I'm very interested to know what you guys think, and if you think I'd like any of these. So if you want, please like, please comment, and please subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and know that you're loved and blessed. Bye.